Hey there, YouTube family. Welcome to the Stocks with Josh show. I'm back in my studio. I've done some deep diving, you guys, on Apple stock. I spent a lot of time in the charts, and my bottom line conclusion is that Apple is going to crush these markets in the days ahead. Apple broke a major historic support. I'm going to point that out in the charts here in just a minute. And I think that it's ultimately going to lead to Apple stock falling, as well as indicating when the next leg down in the markets is going to happen. So if we start from the beginning, Apple reached an all-time high of $182. That was done in late December of 2021, right near the beginning of 2022. It then made another attempt at $182 in January of 2022, and it gave us what's called a double top and became a double top rejection, which is pretty bearish. And of course, that led to a downward trend since then. That's brought us all the way to 32% down for 2022, all the way to 125 in the last week of December. Now, in my opinion, Apple's been playing coy with the recession so far. Halfway through 2022, in August, it actually reached all the way back up for the stars, hitting a high of $176, just $10 away from being at an all-time high in the middle of a gnarly year. Big tech giants had already fallen down low, and Apple appeared to be in a league of their own. Facebook's Meta by August was already down 60%, Amazon down 46%, Intel down 55%. Months back, I began to point out on this show that Apple was a contrarian indicator on green market days. I noticed that when the market had a really big up day, one of the few stocks that was red was Apple. That was not a good sign to me. It told me that the smart money was trying to unload their bags quietly on the world's biggest company when nobody was paying attention and nobody would be upset because everything else in their portfolio was up high. Guys, there is a ton of money invested in Apple, and all the big players, they want to get out of it. They want to get their positions slowly distributed to everybody else. This is where the Wall Street pundits begin to talk about how well it's done. Apple, they'll say, is a dominant market share. They'll say buying Apple is a flight to safety. And they'll say, hey, stop messing with those meme coins. Get yourself some Apple. On top of it, Warren Buffett, he took another bite out of Apple, pun intended. Warren Buffett has said many times that he doesn't care about the price of a stock when he buys it. Warren's got money to put to work, and he's got a very conservative long-term game plan. So if you are like Warren and you don't need to have your money anytime soon, and you're willing to put it to work and let it build over decades, then yes, buying Apple from the time that it came off of its all-time highs, it's getting cheaper and cheaper every day. And if you bought the dip the entire way down and you intend to hold for a generation, then it's probably not a bad deal. But the big question is, where's Apple going? How far down will it go? Where will it go next in the next couple of days? Those are the questions that I'm going to be talking about today. And we're going to go into the past to look at how Apple has performed in the last 3 recessions and 1 market crash to see if it gives us a clue to where Apple might be going. Thank you guys for already hitting the like. As the old saying goes, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. It's time to subscribe and hit the bell and trade with the Stock Josh family in 2023. There's also a link to Moomoo. That's the investment app. It's in the top pinned comment. You can click that link. You can get 15 free stock. They'll do it for a limited time and a chance to win $60,000. Moomoo, if you don't know, is a licensed, registered, and insured exchange based out of Palo Alto, California. These guys give away free level 2 data, 16 hours of trading. They've got 8 order types. They're a zero commission trading platform for your phone, your tablet, and your computer. Plus, I host a chat group called Stock Josh Family on Moomoo. Don't trade alone. Click that link. Get your free stock and come join the family in 2023. All right, during October's highs, when Apple hit $155, that's when I really began to warn people that it was on its way to $125. But it was when Apple broke $136 that from a technical perspective that move was confirmed. 136 was a very important critical line of support, which had actually been operating around since July of 2020. Support lines become stronger and stronger the more touches that they receive by a stock. And when it broke $136, Apple had already touched that line of support over 9 times. And if we go way back in time and look at a 20-year time frame, Apple's broken a much bigger support. That began from around 2019 all the way to 2022. And that brought us down sitting on 125 bucks. Now I'm calling it. Apple's last stand is 125 bucks. Apple and the markets will make a new leg down if Apple breaks that 125. It could reverse, we could move up. We would have to move all the way up and close above 138 for Apple to be bullish at this point. And in my opinion, if Apple closed above 138, then guess what, guys? The next bull run has begun. It's time to buy stock. Having said that, if it happened, I would be utterly shocked. I want to quickly review with you guys how Apple has performed over the last 2 decades. We're going to cover 3 recessions and 1 market crash. I'm going to begin with the 2000 dot-com bubble recession. At that time, Apple fell 80%, which is massive. It fell 80%. A lot of you guys would say, well, that makes sense. It was a technology bubble. That is true. I want to cover that it had 2 legs down. The first move down was 47%, and then Apple came rallying back super strong, but then it had another leg down, which was twice as bad, which was 79%. In that time frame, the GDP was actually not that bad. The whole US economy was only down a negative 0.3%. Apple did get oversold on the RSI, and I'm going to compare the RSI on each of these moves to see if it gives us a clue about where Apple is sitting right now. Then let's cover the Great Recession of 2008. At that time, Apple fell 43% over a short 3-month period, but it didn't get oversold. And then again, it rallied almost back to all-time highs before falling again. The second time it fell 62%. After that larger drop, it then did officially get oversold. In that recession, the economy pulled back a negative 5.1% on the GDP, so it was a much deeper recession. Then in 2018, which was not considered a recession, but instead it was called a market crash, Apple fell 40% from all-time highs and was again oversold on the RSI. And then finally, the COVID 2020 recession. Apple fell 36%, but never got oversold. But the GDP was the worst out of all of them with a negative 19.2%. At that point, we all know the story. The government stepped in, it kicked the recession can down the road by printing trillions of dollars. It created massive inflation, aka market expansion, and then it gave us the rate hikes, which we're currently dealing with, and subsequently we're getting market compression. From the present, Apple's broken key support and it's sitting at 125. It is only 32% down and is not even currently oversold on the RSI. Every other recession, Apple has fallen an average much greater than 40%. 40% would be the minimum. So if Apple simply fell 40%, which is a typical move in a recession, that would take us back to the target of $110. Our next target would be a 56% move, which would take us down to 80 bucks. And the main point I want you guys to take away, that wouldn't even be close to Apple's biggest prior recession drop. So the party on the fall of Apple has only just begun. Why will Apple's imminent crash the markets and your portfolio? Well, I'm going to give you guys 2 reasons. One, Apple actually is so big, they make up 12% of the NASDAQ in totality. When it moves, the markets move. The second reason that Apple's going to crash the markets is this is a $2.4 trillion business. It is technically the most valuable company in the world. It is a stock owned by all the major investment houses. And so when it begins to move down, that's when real pain to the smart money and the hedge funds begins. That's going to usher in real despair and a bearish sentiment over every other company because Apple is an extremely well-run company with a globally famous brand and premium profit margins. So when it gets beat up, it sends a message that there is no safe haven in stocks. And once investors begin to sell the best-in-class stocks, they won't stop with Apple. Everything will get hit hard. So I'm calling it a break below 125 bucks. On Apple stock is the biggest signal ahead of us that I'm keeping a watch out for. It has a lot to do with the heart of people's view of the economy. And if they give up their Apple shares, they're really saying it's time to sell. And so people are going to say, Josh, what do we do about this? How do we make money off of this video today? Well, you guys know that I have a hedge against Apple's fall by buying the SQQQ. My massive SQQ position is going to print money over time. It's been printing money for me. The SQQ, for those who don't know, is a 3x inverse ETF that's based on the QQQ. The QQQ is an ETF based on the NASDAQ. So when the NASDAQ QQQ goes down 1%, my SQQQ position goes up 3%. There's nothing complicated to buying it. You can buy the SQQ just like any other stock. But I want to remind you guys, this is not a suggestion for you to buy, sell, or hold a stock. That's just my game plan. That's how I'm hedging a potential move in Apple. What are you guys doing? How are you guys getting ready for the next leg down? Will you be prepared to buy Apple if it gets to 80 bucks? Would you be missing an opportunity for a lifetime in investment? Let me know in the comments. Don't miss these important market signals. Don't trade alone. Hit the like, subscribe, and all notifications YouTube bell. Watch out for the scammers in the comment section. They use my name and my picture. I'm not on WhatsApp, Instagram, or Telegram. You can only find me on YouTube and Moomoo. Go ahead, click the link for Moomoo. Start your new investment journey. Get the free stock and come find us over there on the Stock Josh family chat group. Peace and blessings, my friends. I'll see you in the chat.